Hi, it's Sarah. I am here with a TBR of sorts of what I would like to read this spring. It's sort of what's going to be in the next couple of months that I'll probably pick up. That might change throughout the month. I'm very much a mood reader. So looking at my TBR, I think I've got around 11 books to show you. And hopefully some of them you might spark like a bit of, ooh, that was a really good book. I would like to comment about that. Or I didn't really like that much. Maybe you should put that back down. Don't pick that one up. I have heard so many different things about some of these books, and for me, I really like really polarizing books because I find that they have the most to them. People having a very visceral reaction to a book. My cup of tea. My cup of tea. Saying that. Right. I've put them into categories. First one is going to be a non-fiction, and one that I have recently picked up, which I am really excited about. I did speak a little bit about it in another video, but I will go through it again. And that is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. This is a depiction of Anne Rule's experience while she was friends with Ted Bundy. She was his best friend. She was the journalist on the cases of these murdered girls, and she didn't know he was the culprit. She didn't know anything about it until he got arrested, essentially. She was not even suspecting him, didn't even have any sort of inkling. That's the first one. The next category is sci-fi / fantasy. So the first one, this keeps coming up on my TBR and I just need to read it, and that's Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This is where a lot of people say that you should start with Octavia E. Butler. I also have Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, that duology. But I'm going to start here because I believe this is one of the more, just to get into her writing style of books. I'm hoping this is going to be a really good one. The next book, Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I have heard so many good things about this book, well, I believe at the moment it's a duology, but potentially it is going to be a trilogy. I'm not really sure. I have to look into that a bit further. However, there is Black Sun, and I cannot remember for the life of me what the second book is called. It has another really awesome looking cover. So if I really enjoy this, then I'm going to buy the second one. I am a little bit scared of this book. I'm not really a huge sci-fi reader. I do like sci-fi to a degree, but it's one of those genres that I haven't read a lot from. So it's not something I'm comfortable with already. It's not a genre that I just will pick up and be able to get straight into something. I do need to be in the right mindset for it and be a bit more switched on. Can't wait to pick this one up. Finally, the last one in this category of sci-fi and fantasy is The Fifth Season. This one, again, I've seen this so many times. I have seen so many people love this series. I believe each single book in the series has won a Hugo Award each year that it was released. I need to read it. I need to see what the hype is. I have heard this author is actually, she's got many different books that are all really good. So I wanted to start with this series, see how I get along with the writing, see how I get along with the story, how invested I get. No doubt I probably will get invested and I will really love it. And what is good is that this is a complete series. I'm not entering another series that isn't complete. Why do I keep doing this to myself? So The Fifth Season is also on my TBR. Category I'm going to go into are thrillers. And Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This I have seen, again, very mixed reviews about. Some people are saying that you need to look into the trigger warnings for this because it's a little bit more gruesome than what you expect it to be for a thriller. I love that stuff. I'm all about horror, I'm all about thrillers, I'm all about everything a bit weird, a little bit bad, and just messed up. That's what I'm about. I love it. So hopefully this one's going to be a winner for me. So the next thriller I have that I have heard so many good things about is The Corset by Laura Purcell. I have read The Silent Companions and The Whispering Muse by this author, and I loved both. I loved The Whispering Muse more. I think it was very much more creepy and it had more atmosphere to it. What I do like about her books is the atmosphere, is the feeling of, so in The Whispering Muse, it was definitely the claustrophobia, the everything feeling like it was all coming in on her. And in the Silent Companions, it was actually the complete opposite. It was the acrophobia, everything being so vast and she had no idea what was going on. There was too much space around her and there was too much room for movability, and it was creepy as hell. I would say, however, the Silent Companions I didn't enjoy as much as the Whispering Muse, and my main reason for that was that I felt there was a bit too much going on in the Silent Companions. Like, it felt like such a simple premise that could have been cut down a little bit. That's it. That is like the smallest of tweaks. Honestly, it really, really was a very good book. I still really enjoyed it. I've heard that people like this one above The Whispering Muse and The Silent Companions, so I am really looking forward to reading this book. The other thing to note about this is that they are historical. They all are set around Victorian era. Again, this is one of those books that I haven't actually paid much attention to what it's about, what the premise is, or anything like that, because I just want to go in knowing that it's a good book. I might move on to the horrors now. First one is The Island by Adrian McKinty. I know a little bit about this book. I believe it's similar to like Lord of the Flies. There's like an island and then they sort of like each other off as things progress. I've heard it's quite suspenseful, quite gory, and there are some scenes that are very upsetting. So look at trigger warnings before going into this if you are thinking of looking at this. But I'm here for a good time. I'm hoping that this is going to be good. I don't know. I have seen so many mixed reviews. Again, I like a good mixed review kind of book. So here we are. Next book in the horror category is Daphne. This, I'm not sure whether I'm going to like or not. I know that sounds bad to pick up a book that I'm just like, I'm in the mood to read this. But I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't think I'm going to like it. Potentially I will like it. But it's books like this that I'm hoping are going to surprise me and make me overcome those slight misconceptions I might have about the book before going into it. The synopsis is that the Kit is just about to graduate from high school. She is looking to get into university. She is a basketball player, I believe, and just before the last big game, they have like a night out, or like one of those everyone meets and gets a little bit drunk, and one of the partiers brings up Daphne, and Daphne is a student that used to attend the school, and she either herself or others, and nobody is really that sure. So apparently she comes back if she gets spoken about. And what have they just done? And what happens to all of her classmates? People are missing left, right and centre. So this is a fairly short book. This is only like 260 odd pages. So I think it's going to be one that's going to be a fairly quick read for me. And if I don't like it, then it's not too bad. It's not too bad. The last books that I have are all literary fiction, I'm going to say. They're sort of genre bending as well. The first one is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. This I know very little about. I'm sorry, I'm really crap at this, aren't I? I'm here meant to be telling you about what books I'm going to be reading, and I can't even tell you what half of them are about because I don't want to know until I've read them, because that's how I am. This is like a retelling of some folk tales. The main person is called Gretel, but I've heard it's not actually Hansel and Gretel. It's a different retelling. That's slightly confusing. However, I found this in a small charity shop. It is near perfect condition and I really want to read it. It's just something that really caught my eye when I first saw it. It just looked so beautiful. and I don't really read that many retellings of stories. They're not really necessarily my jam. However, I do want to try this. I'm very late to the game because this was a Man Booker Prize shortlister in 2018. This is quite a few years old now, but I can't wait to read it. The next one, this is Sanderson's Isle by James Clark, and look at this stunning cover. Like, we've got a cityscape on the top, then a mountainscape on the bottom, and this sort of beautiful back page. Like, honestly, just looking at the cover, as soon as I opened it, I was just like, I have lucked out here. And I'm really hoping it's going to be very good. I'm coming back in because I explained this incredibly poorly. The blind day with the book, I bought this from an independent bookshop when I was in Exeter, and the description read, "Fiction, extraordinarily mapped and cinematic. This book's motley crew beg, borrow, and cheat their way across the country." And that was it. That's all I needed to say. And I fluffed that up so badly. I completely misremembered what was on the package. And yeah, anyway. Then last, but very much not least, and Penny's here. Hello, Pen. I'm so nearly done. I'm so nearly done. You, oh God, might hear Penny purring. I knew she would turn up at some point, but I just hoped it might be after I finished filming. The last book that I have on my TBR for the spring, and you can't see her, but she's not settling. The last book that I picked up for the spring TBR is Julia. This is a companion novel to 1984. This goes into what Julia's life would be like in that dystopian world, and what her job is, how she comes about these people, even when she meets Winston. And it does go into a little bit about that. I don't want to speak too much about this because, in case you haven't read 1984, and spoilers, but I mean, come on, how have you not read 1984 yet? 1984, also I want to put out there, is one of my favourite books of all time. I have reread that book more times than anything else. I'm looking forward to this one. I need to pick it up. I've had this on my bookshelves for way too long now, and I'm very excited to get stuck in. Those are all the spring reads that I want to get to this spring. Is there anything on here that you want to read as well, or anything you've already read and you're really excited for me to read and review for you? I would like to know in the comments. Also, give this a like and subscribe, and I will speak to you in my next one. Bye. She's settled now. Gladly, she has settled now. Oh my goodness. There's my arm. Hey, Ben.